Want to be featured on the Rock Metal Podcast just like all the other great bands you've heard up to this point? Go ahead and hit me up, therockmetalpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know. Let's work out the deets. Rock Metal Podcast, episode 19, Sonic Resurrection.
Sweet.
Okay, so you're all ready to go, sir?
Amen. Ready to roll.
All right, ready to rock and roll. Boom, I'm recording then. Rock Metal Nation. I've got on the line today Robert of Sonic Resurrection, an LA rock band with a catalog of commercial hits. Super stoked to have him back onto the show because if you recall, he was on at the end of August talking about, Sonic Resurrection and the couple of songs that we played for you there on episode 13 of the Rock Metal Podcast. And so Robert has some new tracks to show us. And so I thought, well, why not bring him back on? Because he's got some good music and some good vibes to share. So, Robert, welcome back to the show.
Hey, John, thanks. Awesome to be back, man.
Good to hear. What is new for Rock Metal Nation since we last chatted?
Sure, and thanks, John. I think you'd recall in our last interview we featured a couple songs in the mix. The one particularly, Salvation, was a song originally inspired by our vocalist's father that had passed while he was unfortunately incarcerated. He was a former Hells Angel and had a very, let's say, colorful history of committing felonies and trying to balance his life struggle. And so Salvation initially was inspired by the life and testament of our vocalist dad. And then, of course, posthumously, when we finished our recordings in Scott Weiland's studio in Burbank, California, we did decide as a group to commit the song in dedication to Scott Weiland, given that he had similar struggles. Since then, we've posted the song Salvation out on iTunes, and I'll be happy to share that link so that your listeners can have a listen to that song. We had the opportunity in mastering that song in New York City at Sterling Audio with the master engineer Ted Jensen, who is really their top engineer. He's known all over the world. And he actually loved the song. It was really cool. Yeah, he played about 20 seconds of it, stopped it dead in its tracks while we were going through a attended listening session in New York. And he goes, "Oh my God, guys, that sounds just like Stone Temple Pilots." And literally my jaw dropped because our band has a strong affinity and love of STP's music. So that being said, that's what's been going on behind the scenes since our last interview.
Perfect. No, really good to hear the update, especially for Rock Metal Nation when they hear the bands that are progressing and making steps to further their growth and expansion into conquering the world. And it's always fun when you are at a major mastering house and the guy who hears a lot of music come through and kind of like a therapist judges your problems without any judgment. He has to listen to your song without liking it or not liking it, but we're still human, so stops at 20 seconds in and says, "By the way, dude, this is some good stuff." And that's why I love having you on the show. And so last time we had Salvation and What's Going Down. This time around we're going to have Soldier's Toast and Heaven's Calling. What was, I guess, the groundwork that went behind these two tracks? Was it like a band jam session? Were they already brewing in? Like, how did these two songs come about?
I love that you ask. And what we're really blessed with in our project is, for me personally, I was able to just basically fast track the songwriting and production of this inside of 48 hours typically. So I'm sitting on a couch in Pennsylvania in one of my houses I lived in at the time. And I came out with the arrangement of Heaven's Calling just with an E minor and a C major scale. And I just started from there, strumming with a right hand technique to vary in the introduction of that song. Got that piece down on the first night. And the second night I just went to tracking it. I decided it was such a beautiful combination and interval, but also just the right hand technique, the treatment of the songs between the verse and the chorus. There was just enough of a contrast to kind of etch out the song. So the second night I tracked the whole thing and then spent approximately a total of 40 hours in that demo environment to edit, mix, and master. And then behind that came obviously all the vocal work. Soldier's Toast was actually a little bit more impromptu than Heaven's Calling. I just literally it's funny. I just came out with a lick on a Sunday evening on an acoustic guitar and then found myself tracking it. I think it was an evening or two later that same week. And I actually had one of my family members hitting the record button in my little studio because, I think I only had about 3 to 4 feet of headphone cord, and I just had awesome tone. I was afraid to step away from the guitar to hit record, so I had a little helping hand there.
Beautiful group collaboration, all of that. A little lick on a Sunday evening on an acoustic guitar. And it's funny, I had a band on earlier, and they were saying how important it is to make sure that your songs work and function as a campfire song before you start adding in all the fireworks. It brings me back to that when you're like just jamming out on an acoustic guitar, as simple as can be, making rock and roll history. I just made a rhyme. I'm proud of myself. Yeah. But let's go listen to Soldier's Toast. Coming back from Soldier's Toast. Talk to us about Soldier's Toast. What is going on with Soldier's Toast?
Man, I gotta say, with all the stuff we've seen around the world with gun violence and bombs and, underground fireworks, if you will, in Palestine to, all the issues going on in Iraq, the civil war that's killed and affected 2 million people in Syria, either displaced immigrant refugees or those like 500,000 that have been killed. We just take a look at an issue like that and we go, we got to just dedicate our songs to the U.S. military. I mean, the bottom line is, for any families who have had those in military service, or God forbid those that have actually sacrificed in that service, we just felt it very important to call out, what an honor it is to live in our country and to have our military behind us to give us the freedom we can enjoy to pursue that happiness. And for my little bit, I had the privilege of mentoring 2 U.S. Army personnel years ago through American Corporate Partners in New York. And I got a firsthand view of the sacrifice. Man, I got to really understand day to day the stress that those individuals in leadership in the U.S. Army go through. One was stationed in the theater of Afghanistan and the other in Iraq. And I just think the song really kicks ass. And we looking back on how it sounds, it just kicks so much ass, and the lyrics give a testament to what they might experience in the theater of war. We just thought it would be a perfect fit to put a humble effort forward creatively for all they sacrifice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really love how much you say, and it kicks so much ass because, well, I mean, let's talk about it. The U.S. military kicks so much ass, too, bringing it all together in the lyrics that give testament to what they might experience. And I mean, absolutely, especially in more recent years, a lot of soldiers coming back with PTSD issues and whatnot. And it's all going back to that sacrifice of how it is that we not only build great countries, but maintain great countries as well. Let's go ahead and go into Heaven's Calling. Come back from Heaven's Calling. Speaking of Heaven Calling, Heaven says hello. What is going on with Heaven's Calling?
So yeah, Heaven's Calling is probably one of the songs in our catalog that we've really gotten a very strong, resonant response from those that have listened. We've had now several dozen that have listened to it. And really, I think what they seem to be most resonating with is the beauty of the lyric and the testimony that's in it. And again, you know, we're trying to create something called revival rock. We refer to it as anyhow, and we're trying to bring a little bit more purpose behind the music that we're conveying. And in this particular song, it's, again, much like Salvation, a personal testimony to our vocalist and his experience in life. Unfortunately, while he was on a tour in Europe, his mother had passed of cancer many years ago. And so really it was his decision to attempt to create a lyric that would be a testimony, not just to his personal experience, but more broadly thinking about those. And there are millions of people in the United States alone that have been impacted by cancer. And, you know, I know personally of a very close friend of mine that had survived cancer at Johns Hopkins 2 summers ago. And I can't even imagine, as much as I suffered on behalf of my friend and his family, what my vocalist had gone through with his mother actually having passed of cancer. So Heaven's Calling is a testimony to that. And we hope that our listeners really find, you know, the same, you know, inspiration in the beauty of that lyric, in the love of our vocalist for his mother, and in the sincerity of it.
Awesome. Now, Robert, what exciting news do you have coming up for Rock Metal Nation to pay attention to?
Well, I think for now we're in a holding pattern. We're seeking commercial interest for singing and publishing and or placement of the music. So that's where we're at. And we've got a few rods in the fire, let's say. So I'll be keeping you closely informed as that develops.
Perfect. Sounds really good. And for those who maybe are just tuning in, where can they find out more information about you guys? And I also mentioned that they're going to give a iTunes link as well.
Yeah, totally. So please check out our iTunes link. It'll have, you know, Salvation, and also separately our song What's Going Down, a track that was also recorded at Lavish Studio in Burbank, California, at Scott Weiland's studio. But we also have actually a third song out there. It's an acoustic version of Heaven's Calling. So if you like the version you're hearing here in electric form on this podcast, just know if you're interested to hear an unplugged version, it's out on iTunes. You can also find the band out on Facebook, Sonic Resurrection, just www.facebook.com/Sonic Resurrection. We also have a group page out on Facebook, and I guess those are the best places to find us.
Awesome. All right, so Rock Metal Nation, go ahead and check out iTunes for an acoustic version of Heaven's Calling. So you heard the version here, right now, on the Rock Metal podcast, and that was the electric version. There is an acoustic version available on iTunes, so definitely go ahead and check that out. And also as well, you can keep up with all what's going on with Sonic Resurrection by going to facebook.com/Sonic Resurrection. There's a group as well, so you can keep up on everything that is happening at Sonic Resurrection. Robert, I just want to thank you for coming on again and for sharing your creativity with all of us. I just can't say how much I appreciate it.
John, honestly, the fact that there are people like you in the world that really get, you know, what bands are up against creatively and otherwise, and are willing to bring the message forward to evangelize the value, the messaging behind what we're doing here, man, we're much love back at you, brother.
All right, Rock Metal Nation, hopefully you just found your new favorite band in Sonic Resurrection. Big thanks again for them for coming on a second time and sharing their music with us, their new latest music. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to check out all the information from the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.